I have got another great book for you guys today. Never Eat Alone. Now, this is it's Keith Ferrazzi. This is an amazing book. It's quite thick. There's a lot to this book. Um, I'm going to highlight one particular chapter from this book. Let me just open the chapter. So, chapter 12, Follow Up or Fail, is the name of the chapter. So, my one key lesson from this book, which for me has been the one thing that I am really benefiting from, is chapter 12, Follow Up or Fail. So, what is this? Well, this book is all about how to be a good leader. Never eat alone. Simon Sinek has a book, Leaders Eat Last. Okay, so never eat alone. Let's put the book down there. So, follow up or fail. What is this about? Now, this is something that we all can be good at sometimes, but we all can be bad at sometimes. So, in the past, I've come from a kind of sort of salesy, consultancy background, and following up contacts was something I did very, very naturally in the past. You know, it was part of my job. So you make a contact and you follow up with that contact. But when I moved out of that sort of salesy environment, it's something I kind of stopped doing or stopped practicing, in a sense. And it's something I need to do more of. I know I need to do more of it again. So follow up or fail. Basically, if you are trying to build your network, now you might be building your network internally in your team, in your department, in your organization, in your global company, or it might be externally as well. It might even be in your personal life. So when you meet somebody new, you should follow up with that person. Yeah. It's a very natural thing. You're aware of this. I know you're all aware of this, but there's no harm in being reminded to do something that is essential, critical for success in terms of building your network of contacts. So follow up or fail. I like the title, Follow Up or Fail. So what does it mean? So I don't know. Imagine you meet somebody at a networking event, okay, and you chat for a few minutes. You perhaps exchange sort of contacts, business cards, or LinkedIn profiles, whatever. Now, in the book, Keith Ferrazzi, I have to keep checking what his name. Keith Ferrazzi recommends you've got a 24-hour window to make contact with that person. I kind of agree. 24 hours is a good window of opportunity, but it doesn't have to be 24 hours. There's nothing wrong with leaving it an extra few days if you need to, if you want to. And if you've been at a networking event, you might have hundreds of people to follow up with. But within a certain number of days, certainly within a week, if you think it's a worthwhile contact, you've got to follow up. Now, following up can be, if you've exchanged LinkedIn profiles, a little message on LinkedIn. Yeah, it could be an email. It could be SMS if you've exchanged phone numbers, WhatsApp, whatever. Following up is crucial if you want to build your connections. People will very quickly forget you. Yeah, I know certainly. I always forget people's names. I'm trying my best to remember people's names, but I forget them. I don't know why. I could speak to somebody, meet somebody, shake their hand, they tell me their name, and 5 seconds later it's gone. It's my fault. I know it's my fault. Yeah, and I am working on that desperately. Working on that to make sure I don't forget their names, and it's really that's really about practicing, not memorization, but techniques of repetition, I think. So I'm working on that one. But going back to the following up, if you don't follow up, they will forget you. I guarantee you, unless you have made a massive impression on them and they decide to follow up with you, chances are they're going to forget. So what you want to do is make sure that they don't forget you. And you do that by following up. And like I said, your follow-up could be electronic. It could be a message, an SMS, an email. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you are following up, or when you are following up, there's a couple of key things that you do want to remember. I would say these are sort of vital for following up. So first of all, your follow-up needs to be personal. You can't have a generic follow-up that you just send to everybody because, well, if you do send a generic follow-up to everyone, they will know it's generic because there'll be nothing personal in it. So make sure that your follow-up is personal, and also make sure that you're offering them something. You're offering them value in your connection. Okay, so make it personal. Make sure that in your connection, in your follow-up, there is value for them. Make it about them, basically, and make sure there's something in it for them in terms of accepting your connection and responding to you. Okay. I would also suggest that you've already met this person, you've had a conversation, so include some insights from your conversation. Maybe there was something you mentioned, an article that you've read, or a product you know that you think would really, really suit that person, or for that, or suit their needs. Make sure you include it in your follow-up. You know, here's a link to the article. Here's that product I was talking about. This is the company that does it. Make sure there's something in it for them that is really, truly valuable. Yeah, and it follows on, and it's an insight from your conversation. Now, you don't always have to follow up electronically. Okay. There was, I think, I'm not sure whether it was Stephen Bartlett from the Diary of a CEO or some other sort of, podcaster. One day I'll be as big as Stephen Bartlett, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But I think it was Stephen Bartlett or some other podcast that I listened to who was talking about somebody trying to connect with them, somebody trying to make a connection, make an impression. And instead of just, sending emails or connecting through apps, whatever, they just sent a nice handwritten card, like a postcard, handwritten. Yeah. So it was very, very personal, and it was handwritten. Can you remember the last time you received a letter or a postcard or anything that was handwritten? No, I bet you can't. But if you did receive something that was handwritten, I can guarantee you that you would pay attention to it. Yeah. And, something like that, if you believe this contact you just made is important enough, good enough, great enough, do something different. Don't be like everyone else who just connects on LinkedIn and says hi. Do something. Be different. Be memorable. That's the one thing I want you to be. I want you to be memorable. So that is what I am taking away from this book. First time I've read this book, by the way. This is a new book for me this year. Never Eat Alone. Yeah, it's a chunky book. There's a lot in there. There's a lot to digest in there. But I've selected just that one thing to share with you today. But I would highly recommend Never Eat Alone to you as another great book. And like I said, Follow Up or Fail. It's a great title, Follow Up or Fail. And that's my recommendation for you this week. Okay, that's it for Atomic Ambition for today. I will see you all again pretty soon, hopefully. Bye.